Welcome to the Henry Ford's Innovation Nation. I'm Mo Rocca. Prepare to be astonished.
Coming up, slithering robots on the ready to rescue. Wheeling through the past with presidential passengers. The Prince of the Pixels in your pocket. And clearing the way for see-through solar power. Now on the Henry Ford's Innovation Nation.
Are you one of those people who is creeped out by snakes? How about robots? Are you a droidophobe? If you answered yes to either of those questions, we're about to change your mind. Because robot snakes, as disgusting as they may sound, are in the process of making the world a safer place. Here's Adam Yamaguchi.
This is a snake from the future, not hatched in the woods or the desert, but in the mind of engineers. Let's face it, snakes get a bum rap because they slither along the ground and because they can slip in or out of small, hidden spaces unnoticed. And that freaks people out. But it's those exact qualities a snake possess that can actually be a huge asset to humans when it comes to search and rescue efforts, dangerous inspections of old piping systems, or even delicate medical procedures like heart surgery. Of course, you can't train a snake to act on command like a dog. So what do you do instead? You build a snake robot. I traveled to one of the top robotics labs in the country, located at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to meet the robot snake charmer himself, Professor Howie Chosette.
So this lab here is called the Biorobotics Lab. The reason why it has its name is that we look at biology for inspiration to make the robots here. We have been working on snake robots for about 18 years in this group. If you look on our wall, we have a whole history of dead snake robots. Each time we iterate, we make the mechanism better and better. So this robot here, it can move around in some ways just like how a real snake can, but it can do other things that real snakes can't. So for example, it can climb up a pole. So if you want, why don't you put your leg right over here, and what you're seeing is that the mechanism is smart enough to hug your foot, your leg, but we can actually regulate how hard we grab on, and then once we're grabbing on just enough, we can roll up and poke around. Snake robots can introduce a whole host of applications. One that's near and dear to my heart is urban search and rescue. We want to be able to give rescue workers a tool that will allow them to reach into a collapsed rubble pile and locate victims, and do so without disturbing the surrounding areas.
Other possible uses include inspecting radioactive pipes at aging nuclear power plants, and even archaeology.
Archaeology is just like search and rescue, except everyone's been dead for 5,000 years, so there's no rush.
Professor Chosette's students have built other kinds of useful robots, like this spider robot.
This particular configuration of robot has applications in crawling over piles of rubble, because again, you have lots of points of contact with the ground and you have nice reach. You can get to places that maybe a wheeled robot can't.
Professor Chosette's snake robots have been engineered small enough to work in the medical world, where they've been officially approved for surgical use in Europe.
So what you have here is a surgical snake robot. It's for minimally invasive surgery. So what we can do is we can make a small incision, let's say in your chest, make a 25mm turn one way and a 25mm turn the other way, and you're behind the heart, where you can deliver a whole host of therapies and diagnostics.
While these snake robots are amazing creations, there's still more functionality that needs to be developed, and the cost to build one has to come way down in order for it to be practically affordable.
Right now, I'm at the happiest I've ever been with the capabilities of this robot, and I'm still not happy. There's just so much that we want to do in making these robots work.
What surprised me the most is that Professor Chosette is actually scared of snakes.
All this work in snake robots has not changed what is a biologically well-based fear of snakes. I just don't want to be around real snakes.
Coming up, driving into presidential history, focusing on the Sultan of Selfies, and the window into our solar-powered future. But first, it's time for the Mo You Know. Who invented the trusty Band-Aid? Was it A, an injury-prone housewife, B, a cotton buyer, or C, a knife maker? We'll scrape up the answer to see which one sticks after you take a short pause for the gauze. Welcome back. It's time to rip the bandage off this answer. Before the break, we asked, who invented the Band-Aid? Uh-oh, it's a trick question. The answer is actually A and B. In 1920, housewife Josephine Dixon often cut and burned herself while cooking. Her husband Earl was the cotton buyer for the Johnson & Johnson Company. Earl cut up pieces of tape and stuck a wad of cotton in the middle to dress his wife's wounds. He showed his invention to his bosses, and the Band-Aid was born. The adhesive strips have covered billions of boo-boos and owies ever since. That's the Mo You Know.
If you're president of the United States, you can't just ride around in a regular car. Here at the Henry Ford, there's a collection that spans 80 years of presidential limousines. And some of the events that took place in these cars drastically changed the course of American history.
Viewing this regal collection of presidential limousines feels like a walk through American history itself, reflecting pageantry and tragedy, war and peace. Matt Anderson is curator of transportation at the Henry Ford, and he showed me how these presidential vehicles have a special purpose beyond the obvious.
A presidential limousine really has to play three roles in its daily life. One, it has to have the formality of a limousine for state occasions, things like that. It has to provide visibility so the president can be seen by crowds and by the press, but it also has to supply the security of an army tank.
The oldest vehicle in this collection was used by President Teddy Roosevelt. To call it a limousine might be a stretch, because this ride is of the horse-drawn variety.
Full disclosure, Teddy Roosevelt is my favorite president.
And this is his carriage right here from 1902.
Was this the first official presidential vehicle?
I think it's fair to say that the presidential limo that we understand today starts right here.
And would TR, as he was known, just hop out and shake hands and then get back in?
No doubt, he'd probably jump out, shake a few hands.
This looks like a presidential limousine.
Yes, this car was customized for Franklin Roosevelt in 1939.
Distant cousin of Teddy Roosevelt's.
Yes, and this car is really where it all starts. It's the first automobile customized for presidential use.
Nicknamed the Sunshine Special, this car was a reflection of FDR's outlook.
Roosevelt always liked to ride with the top down so he could be more visible, but also because he was famously optimistic, even during the depths of the Great Depression.
The bubble top was most associated with President Eisenhower, who used it for all of his 8 years in office.
There is indeed some sort of shield that folds up there, right?
Yes, you might think it's some kind of a bullet screen. It actually protects from bugs, of all things. So that right? Gets to the whole dignity issue. You know, you can't have a face full of flies when you're the leader of the free world.
This car may not be recognizable to you, but if you imagine it as a convertible, then President John F. Kennedy likely comes to mind. President Kennedy was killed while riding in this car through Dallas on November 22nd, 1963.
This is a 1961 Lincoln Continental. Lincoln had a whole new design that year, very clean, very elegant, very modern. And of course, Kennedy projected that image of youth and modernity, so they were a great fit.
This car will always symbolize something horrible. A national tragedy.
Absolutely right. President Kennedy's assassination was a major turning point in national history, and certainly a turning point in the design of presidential limousines. This represents the break between the bubble top, which is just an open car with no armor of any sort, and the modern sort of tank on wheels. This car was completely rebuilt after the assassination, given armor plating, given bulletproof glass, bulletproof tires.
By the 1970s, the world looked very different, and presidential vehicles started to reflect those changes in earnest. This car is most well known for being the one used by President Ronald Reagan on the day of his assassination attempt in 1981.
This limousine is totally different from many of the others we've talked about because this one was built from the ground up to be an armored car. These days, the limousines actually are destroyed shortly after they're retired from use, and that's partially to test how effective the armor is against improving weapons.
So they blow up the cars as part of a test to make future cars even safer.
Exactly. So this may very well be the last presidential limousine saved in a museum.
One that will continue to tell stories for generations to come. After a short break, picturing the development that ended developing and bringing clarity to solar power. But again, it's time for the Mo You Know. In 1945, what food accidentally helped invent the first microwave oven? Was it A, popcorn, B, chili, or C, chocolate? We'll have that answer in about the time it'll take you to nuke that cup of coffee. Welcome back. My show is ready and it's steaming hot. A moment ago, we asked what food accidentally helped invent the microwave oven. Of course, the answer is C, chocolate, because, well, chocolate is the answer to everything. In 1945, Percy Spencer was building radar units for the company Raytheon. He noticed that the chocolate in his pocket had melted. He discovered that if you generated the microwaves in a box, the temperature of anything inside that box would rapidly rise. A few years later, the first microwave oven went on sale. But you had to have a wad of cash and a big kitchen. The oven was 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighed 750 pounds, and cost $5,000. Now, I can't confirm this, but he may have also invented the smell of burning popcorn. That's the Mo You Know.
Okay, kids, today I'm going to tell you a story about something that, like the dinosaurs, has gone extinct. It's called film. Mom and Dad, and maybe even your big sister, used to put it into cameras to take pictures, and those cameras couldn't make phone calls. How lame was that? Now, there's actually one man who single-handedly removed film from our vocabulary, and he replaced it with selfie. Here's Allie Ward.
That camera inside your phone is pretty easy to use, isn't it? Point, shoot, presto photo. But it hasn't always been so simple. There was a time when you had to get to know the inside of your camera by loading film before you could take a photo. Then you had to have it developed and printed to see it. Have you ever wondered who is behind the technological advances that have made our photographic lives so easy? I traveled to Rochester, New York, to meet a man who really is a legend in our time. I'm walking with the man who invented the digital camera. This is Steven Sasson, who more than 30 years ago was given an assignment from his employer, Kodak. And what he came up with changed the history of photography forever. Yep, it was Steven Sasson who invented this, the first digital camera, the harbinger of every single digital camera to follow. And he did it when he was 25 years old. 25 years old. We sat down to talk about his road to invention.
What were the very first components of the first digital camera?
The very first digital camera was cobbled together with parts that I found from around the laboratory. My vision was to have a camera with no moving parts at all. It might seem obvious to you now that that's the way to do it, but it wasn't obvious back then.
And that first digital camera was about the size of a toaster, weighing 8.5 pounds.
I'm gonna get you a shirt that just says, "Yo, I invented your camera," so everyone knows.
Next, we headed over to the nearby George Eastman House, a museum dedicated to photographic history, to see the first digital camera with our own eyes.
Look at that! There it is! Hello! Oh my gosh, what is it like to see this?
It's really great. This is the first time it's actually on public display here at the George Eastman House. Okay, I'll pick it up and hold it like this, and I would frame the picture up, and then I would do the click, click, and then once I took the picture, the tape would be moving, and that's how I know I took my picture, okay? If the tape didn't move, I know something went wrong.
Not only did he show us the camera, but opened it up to show its inner workings.
This was the first memory card that's ever used in a digital camera, was down here. And it's made up of those 12 memory chips that were hand-wired. Photography has been with us for well over 100 years, and it's an art form, and it's telling stories. That's still the same. It's just the tools have changed.
I feel like we have to commemorate this with what else but a digital selfie.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
come on.
I would have to do that.
You ready?
Okay.
And it wouldn't be a digital selfie without a little bit of duck lips.
Duck lips.
A little.
Okay, duck lips. Got it.
Amazing.
Coming up, seeing through the future of solar. That and vocabulary are next.
In the high-tech world of power generators, solar panels have always been the hottest, the most attractive. They don't have those unsightly chimneys or nuclear cooling silos, just sleek black panels capturing the sun's rays. But soon, traditional solar panels could clearly become one of the ugly ducklings of the power world. And when I say clearly, I mean it.
Solar panels have been around since the 1950s. We put them on rooftops to collect sunlight and turn that sunlight into usable electricity. They're not always pretty to look at, but they work. The challenge has been the cost. It takes a whole lot of solar panels to generate enough electricity to power a home or building. So researchers at Michigan State University in Lansing have been working hard to figure out an alternative to traditional solar panels. I spoke with MSU research scientist Dr. Richard Lunt about his invisible innovation to harness the sun's energy.
Hi there, Richard. Good to see you.
Hey, it's great to be here, Mo.
My understanding is that we continue using fossil fuels over solar power because solar power is still too expensive to convert into usable power.
That's exactly right. There's enough solar energy to power the whole world many thousands of times, but we just don't do it because it costs too much.
In the 1970s, scientists discovered that you can trap the sun's energy in glass or plastic using special colored dyes that absorb light rays and direct them to the edges of a glass plate, where attached solar cells can convert the light's energy into electricity, in this case, to power a small fan. Imagine if all the glass in your home could be a power source, just like this glass plate. Unfortunately, you'd have to color coat or dye every window in your house to produce significant energy, so your view would be tinted green, yellow, or red. Dr. Lunt's challenge was to develop a dye for glass that could absorb a lot of light and still let you see outside. In other words, a clear dye. This required some crazy chemical engineering.
I heard that you and your students designed new molecules for your clear solar panels. How do you even do that?
So you rely on inspiration from nature, and you take molecules that we have found, and we try to make them do something new and exploit those properties to make a new kind of application, a new kind of solar cell.
After 2 years of experimentation, Dr. Lunt and his team have discovered a formula for creating a clear, light energy absorbing dye. As of now, a glass plate painted with Dr. Lunt's clear dye absorbs about 20% of the light that hits it.
Do you envision a future where glass buildings power themselves?
Absolutely. Even with the metrics that we are able to achieve today, this looks like a very good energy savings, saving some buildings as much as 10 to 50% of their energy consumption. It won't be the only solution, but we see it as being a very important solution.
Thanks, Richard. I think we all look forward to homes that come with power windows as standard equipment.
Thanks, Mo.
After a short break, it's that time to define. Allie Ward has vocabulary. Next.
Welcome back. Now, each week, I sit down with my trusty dictionary. And when I say dictionary, I mean laptop, to give you the definitions of the bigger words that we use on the show. And we call this vocabulary. Now, in my story about the inventor of the first digital camera, I said this:
The first digital camera, the harbinger of every single digital camera to follow.
Now, harbinger is a noun. It means one that pioneers in or initiates a major change. So, Steve Sassen's digital camera was a harbinger of the 3 Ps. He changed pictures, but also what's in your pockets and your purses. In Adam Yamaguchi's story on snake robots, this was said.
Each time we iterate, we make the mechanism better and better.
Now, iterate is a verb. It means to say or do again and again. So in this case, the robo-reptile kept breaking, and that's how they made them better and better. And I'm not gonna lie, creepier and also creepier. And that is your vocabulary for the day. I'm Allie Ward.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us today. If you want to be a part of the Henry Ford's Innovation Nation, just remember, dream big and don't quit. I'm Mo Rocca.